Sorry again to bring you this video via recording, not able to go live from where I'm staying in Dubai currently, but hopefully that will all be fixed and better for next week. Now, what I want to do in this video, a couple of things. I want to focus on some higher time frame stuff that I've noticed that is going on. I want to focus on that. I want to talk about what is going on in the markets in general. And I'm also going to talk about the short position that I had yesterday and how I managed it for educational purposes. So if that is the kind of content that you enjoy, please be sure to hit that like button, smash subscribe so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video. So I want to have a look at this because just generally looking at overall kind of what's going on in the market. First of all, I am noticing a few M formations forming on the 1 hour time frame. With Bitcoin, it does look like a final damage M. Ethereum kind of looks like a double top, which I'm always very cautious of double tops, so we'll talk about that in a bit more detail. However, with S&P and NASDAQ at this point in time, they do look like normal looking kind of M formations, especially with the NASDAQ currently rejecting the 800 EMA. Here's my worry about all of these M's that I'm seeing on the 1 hour time frame, and that is the Dixie right here. So if I expand on this, what we can see is happening on the Dixie right now is the rejection of the 50 EMA. Now, the thing with the Dixie is, if it continues to reject the 50 EMA and head down, that's potentially bullish for cryptocurrency and everything else. So that's the risk that we have right now. If you're identifying M formations and taking shorts, then you really want to see some strength come back into the Dixie, and we want to see it break that 50 EMA and start to create new market structure. Right now, it's looking fairly weak and like it probably wants to head down even further. So I would just be aware of that. That's definitely something to watch. However, the shorter term plays are a little bit harder to work out right now, and that's why I want to focus on higher time frame plays for today. Specifically, I actually want to start with Ethereum because there's something pretty interesting going on in Ethereum. If we zoom out to the 4 hour time frame and have a look here, we can see that where price is currently rejected at 1340 is the middle peak of the W formation for the 4 hour time frame. So this is actually fairly decent for a potential further move to the upside, providing we maintain market structure. And what I'd actually like to see in order to feel like this is a little bit healthier, I'd actually like to see it come back and retest these vector candles right here on the 4 hour time frame, that being around about at the lowest level about 1260. And if it can come back and retest that, that would also line up somewhere around the 50 and the 200 EMA. If it can do that and create a higher low and then give us bullish candle confirmations as the final confirmation, I would then expect that Ethereum is next going to break that W formation. And that's going to make this whole move up here only rise level 1 on the 4 hour time frame. So that's the absolute most positive situation that we have going on right now. But the other thing you need to be aware of is that this point here where Ethereum is right now, when it comes to W formations, if it doesn't break that middle peak, that can also be where price rejects and leads to the next leg to the downside. So it really is on kind of the edge right now. And it does make sense if you're on a lower time frame to be looking for M formations to short. However, just be aware and watch these vector candles here. If your short does start to play out, watch these vector candles here because that's what price will be coming back to recover. And you want to see if price bounces at any of these vector candles here, and then you know what's going on a higher time frame. Now, when I flick to Bitcoin, however, it's a little bit of a different story because if we zoom out on Bitcoin's middle peak of its W is at 18,055, and we're nowhere near that just yet. We do know that there's been a lot of liquidation levels around here that Bitcoin has slowly been taking out, which is good. And we also know that the 17.5 area had a high level of shorts until yesterday, which is kind of where it went to so far. But now those shorts have moved up to 17,600. I still don't think this is a big enough level to cause a major rejection. And the fact that they keep moving up every time Bitcoin moves up that's another telltale kind of sign. However, for Bitcoin, we want to see it get through and break this zone here, because this is our next vector candle right here. And that's the area that we want to see it break through if we are to get a higher time frame W formation, which is the beginning of an uptrend. But just be aware that, again, if we get into this zone and reject here, that's not a completion of a W. A completion of a W is when the right side actually breaks the middle peak and then comes back to retest it and holds. So until all of that happens, which this being a 4-hour time frame, we're talking about, potentially a week. Until all of that happens, this is not a completed W. It's on the way to becoming a W. And again, you have to watch this zone right here to see if it rejects. Now, let's have a look at the lower time frame and talk about yesterday's play quickly. Yesterday, as we talked about on yesterday's video, this here was where I entered a short position on the New York reversal trade setup. A New York reversal trade is a daily setup trade in this method, and after 3 hits to the low, it's over. So this here, this red candle here, this magenta one, and this red one, that's when the trade is technically over and considered complete. I decided to stay in that trade a little bit longer because we entered a boardroom afterwards, and I wanted to see if that would then start the actual start of the week trend. However, what I mentioned on yesterday's video was I didn't want price to break back above the IHOD, which was at 17 to 38-ish, because that would then change the trend. So I ended up cutting that trade. My condition to exit was a full recovery of this vector candle right here. And so once the news event came out and we actually printed this big green candle here, that was where I exited. So I exited for minimal profit on that one. However, I am still long from the very beginning of this run. So the long position stayed open, but the short position was closed at basically a no trade pretty much. And now we're here where it does look like we have this M formation that formed end of US, start of Australia. We have a kind of weak 50 EMA break, but nevertheless, it still does count. And this could be the start of the move to the downside, but I will caution you to pay attention to those higher level vector candles, because that may be all it wants to recover. At this point in time, the highest level of longs I can find is at 17.3. So if you are short, definitely watch that area and see what happens there. The other thing too is it's going to be a bit of a tricky week because we do have more news events. Nothing today, so it's a free trading day pretty much, but tomorrow need to be aware of the CPI. So until CPI comes out, should be able to just trade what you see. But remember, a fair few hours before news events, price tends to go sideways and do basically nothing. So if you don't hit your targets before news events, but you're close enough, it's probably better to take profit than to sit through it when you don't know what the news event is going to reveal. So for me personally, I think I'm going to stick with the higher time frame play on this one because it's a little bit more obvious to me. I'm not shorting just yet. I want something a little bit more stronger in order for me to short, but I really do want to see if we can head up into this vector candle zone. And if I start to see any strong reversals, I will take profits on that long position. But at this point in time, it feels okay for me to just hold that long position. And finally, before I end this video, I did have from yesterday a fair number of people ask me when is the best time to join to learn our system, because it used to be a case where you could only join on the first of the month. So just letting you know, that's not a thing anymore. We have moved to our own website, which allows us to be able to take enrollments at any time. And so you can join anytime you feel ready. And then it's just a monthly ongoing subscription fee for as long as you want to remain a member. You can cancel at any time. From the time that you cancel, your cancellation is immediate. So keep that in mind. Check out the links below if you are wanting to join us and learn this method in full. I'll be back tomorrow. I should be back before we have this CPI thing so we can see how price is going there. But yes, play it safe. If you have decided to take a lower time frame short position, just be careful of it because it doesn't yeah, it's a bit of a nothing burger at the moment. But as always, have your reasons and your triggers to enter, and also your reasons and triggers to cut your trades early if they're not going the way that you expect. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.